Hello everybody. Welcome to Yoga Stretch. Jess was supposed to be taking this class, but unfortunately she's hurt her shoulder this morning, so hopefully she heals quickly and we'll have her back for you next week. But you've got me instead, Nalini. So we're gonna go through a nice, slow, juicy, hour-long stretch today. And I've got a chair next to me. It's not something that's necessarily necessary, but if you have something close by, a low chair without arms, or even if you're near a couch, just something that you can pop your hands up on to support some of the movements today. So take a moment, grab that. Just make sure you can all hear me. All right, and once you're ready, we are going to come to lie down in our Shavasana to start. And taking your time, lengthen yourself down on your mat. Making sure that the hips are heavy, the legs are even, feet are about hip distance apart or even a little bit wider. And the toes softly start to roll out. There is a slight external rotation of the legs as they relax. The arms are down by the body but a little bit away so that we can tuck the shoulder blades down the upper back, giving the top of the chest space. And turning the palms to face up. And a gesture of openness, of a willingness to receive from your practice today. When you feel ready, closing the eyes, the back of the head is heavy. Check in with how you're holding your face and relax the jaw. Release the tongue from the top of the mouth if it's there. And allow it to soften. In turn, feel the cheeks, find some softness. And the space between the eyebrows open and relax. The eyeballs, the eyelids, relax. As you lie here, eyes closed, feeling a sense of heaviness, a sense of surrender downward. A release from anything you might be holding or clenching. And if you find there are still areas in your body where you are feeling a bit tight or like you're holding something, take a moment, really bring your awareness to those spaces and consciously ask the body to soften. This isn't something that will necessarily happen all at once, but we practice so that we become more aware of where we do tend to hold. So it will be different for each of us, maybe shoulders or hips or belly. Understand the points of tightness or tension that you're working with today. Acknowledging them. As you lie here, you might even want to take your hands to the parts of your body that you're feeling the most. And feel the warmth of the palms pressing into wherever needs that warmth, that love. Sending some healing energy. And setting an intention around your practice to make sure that we stay aware of the places in our body that need the most attention. So that as we move today, we can move for ourselves rather than against ourselves. Sometimes through a yoga practice, the mind wants to take control. We start to sort of fall into a sense of competition, either with ourselves or with anyone else. No, I've got to do that. This is what we're going to do. Instead, releasing from that, especially now you're in your own space, no one's watching, and really take this practice in a way that feels good for you. I'm going to give lots of options. Use the ones that are best for your body. And moving your hands now to your belly, if they're not already there. We'll go palms facing down. Right hand on belly, and then left hand moves higher onto the chest toward the heart space. As you lie here, start to notice how your breath is moving. Start to notice movement in the torso as you breathe. We invite our consciousness to the way our breath works. Our awareness starts to move inward. How does your breath feel today? As you inhale, where do you feel it? As you exhale, where do you feel it? And let's not assume anything about the breath. Instead, really taking the time to search for it, to realize it truthfully. And as we bring focus to the breath, naturally it will start to lengthen. Let's become more conscious of that lengthening now, inhaling as deeply as you can, right down into the pit of the belly. Feel the right hand lift. And then as you exhale, feel the right hand draw back downward. Inhale right down into the pit of the belly, feel the right hand lift, and then draw the breath further up, and you may feel the left hand lift as well as you come up into the middle of the lungs. Exhale, lungs, belly. Inhale, belly. Up toward the middle, feel the sides of the ribs expand to either side of your mat, and then at the top of the breath, feel the chest start to lift right up into the collarbones. Take another little sip of air in. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Let's take a few more breaths like this, acknowledging the three parts in your own time, and starting to settle into your own rhythm for your practice. Once you feel the breath is long and full, you can release the three parts and just breathe deeply in and out through the nose in long, steady streams of breath. And we'll use the next inhale to reach the arms up toward the ceiling, hands directly above your shoulders. Really reach through the fingertips, and you'll feel the shoulder blades start to separate on the mat. As you exhale, reach the hands up overhead until the backs of the hands find the floor or the mat. Inhale, draw your hands up toward the ceiling to shoulder height. And then exhale, bring the hands down by your sides, palms facing down. Let's start to explore the way the shoulders and the shoulder blades move on the mat beneath you. Inhale, hands above your shoulders. Exhale, hands toward the ceiling. What happens? toward the top of the mat. Inhale, come back up, hands towards ceiling now. And exhale, hands down by your sides. Moving fluidly with the breath one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, let's bring the hands up above the shoulders. Turn the palms to face in toward one another. Imagine that you're holding something and you're going to squish it to make it smaller. So imagine there's a force pressing out into your palms, but you're pressing into it and you're a little bit stronger. So eventually, slowly, your palms come together and we interlace the fingers. Make a big fist. Inhale, send it up toward the ceiling. Exhale, drop your left elbow to your left. Right arm crosses straight across the body. You can stay here or turn the head toward the right. Taking a few moments to open through the top of the right shoulder. If you turned your head to the right, lift your face back up to center and inhale, send your fist back up. Touch the ceiling. Exhale, drop right elbow to the right. Left arm stays straight as it pulls across the body. And again, you can stay, or maybe you might want to look to the left or turn the face to the left, past the left shoulder. And then inhale, coming back up to center. Keep the palms together as you exhale. Take the arms up overhead. Inhale, hands up to center. As you exhale, reach your hands toward your toes. You might want to stay here or lift your head, tuck chin to chest, and look past your toes. Big breath in. And use the exhale, relax back down. Inhale, arms come back up, release the palms, and exhale, take the hands back overhead. We're gonna let the hands relax on the mat now. Walk the feet over to the left corner of your mat. Your right foot might cross on top of your left. We start to feel a bit of length out the right side of the leg, right up into the hip. You might want to stay or walk your hands out to the left as well, and maybe your right hand comes on top of your left. Your head and your shoulders will need to shuffle a little bit, but the hips and the lower part of the torso stays still. So we start to make a banana shape with the body. Length through the full right side of the body. Back of the head is heavy. Close down the eyes and take a few deep breaths. Noticing if once again you can acknowledge the three parts of your breath, but this time feel them more completely in your right side body. There's more space to breathe into through your right side than your left, so let's use that space. And then slowly walking the hands back to center, lifting the shoulders and the head, shuffling yourself back to center. Uncross the right foot from over the left, bring the feet back to center, and then we move everything out to the right. So exactly the same as the other side. Feet go first, maybe left ankle crosses on top of the right, acknowledging any sensations that arise through the outside of the left leg, up into the hip. And then keeping the hips, the lower part of the torso where it is, take your hands out to the right. Maybe your left hand comes on top of your right, and we might want to shuffle the head and the shoulders a little bit further, finding that full banana shape of the body. Banana asana. And then letting yourself relax here. Back of the head is heavy, eyes closed. Can we bring the breath more completely into the left side of the body? Can you breathe into your left lower belly, your left side ribs, your left collarbone? And can you breathe out of those areas? And then more completely, can you breathe into wherever you're feeling on your left side? Maybe shoulder, maybe hip, maybe somewhere else entirely. And you see exhale to release tension, tightness. And slowly coming back to center, we'll go hands first, head and shoulders, and then legs uncross. Feet come back to hip distance apart, hands are shoulder distance apart. We're just going to take a moment to reach as long as we can, stretching tippy toes and fingertips away from each other. Feel the whole body wake up as you find length. Take a deep breath in. And then on the exhale, we're gonna curl knees to chest, wrap arms around legs, pick your head up, curl chin into your throat and give yourself a nice big squeeze, curling up into a little ball. We're gonna lift up to a seated position, so you might wanna do this by rocking to one side and lifting. Otherwise, we're gonna start to rock up and down the length of the spine. You can use your hands on your knees for support. Massaging the vertebrae down the spinal column. And then once you feel like you've had enough of this rocking, coming all the way up, finding balance on the sit bones, letting the feet drop in front of you. We're going to cross forearms over knees and rest forehead to forearms, just taking a moment, allowing the body to adjust to being upright. Notice as you come up and you fall forward slightly, the breath moves a little more deeply into the back body. On your next inhale, lift your head and look forward. We're going to bring the hands down by our sides. Just fingertips down on the mat, separate the feet to hip distance apart, and on the breath in, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other. Just for 3, 2, 1. As you exhale, allow the chest to draw back in. We're going to pick the hips up. Pull them back so the legs go long on your mat. We're going to bring the legs together. Squeeze the inner thighs, flex the toes up toward the ceiling. Find your sit bones on the mat, so we might want to pull some flesh out of the way. Lengthen up through the spine, lengthen up through the arms. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, start to melt belly onto thighs, chest onto knees, hands reach forward. So the knees might want to bend a little bit more to help this movement. Inhale, come on up. Starting to find that tuck. Exhale, belly to thighs, chest toward knees, spine stays long. Let's go for one more full breath in. And long exhale. Inhale, come back up. Let's keep the arms up. We're going to cross the ankles or roll out onto one hip and come forward toward a tabletop. Finding your chair and bringing it in, or turning to face your couch, or even if you do have blocks, they can be handy here. If you don't have anything by you, we're gonna take a full child's pose. Otherwise, we're going for a little bit more of a shoulder stretch by taking hands up onto whatever it is you're using, bringing big toes together, hips are nice and wide, draw hips back toward heels, and you might need to adjust your furniture a little bit. Hips back toward heels, soften the belly down, soften the chest down. Let the head hang heavy, but the head is not supported. So the back of the neck lengthens slightly. Notice if you are holding tension or pulling yourself away, and try and surrender and soften toward the mat beneath you. Now this is a big one on the shoulders, so if you want to take your hands off and come to your full child's pose, please do so. Otherwise, some long deep breaths here. Opening the heart, opening the shoulders. If you feel like you're really collapsing into this, a nice way to find just a little bit more stability is to imagine that your armpits are wanting to turn to face one another. So rolling the outer arms in, or down and in toward each other. Gives us a little more stability, but also a much bigger stretch. All right, use your next inhale, lift your head, look forward. We're gonna come up onto our knees. You can keep your hands on your chair, or you can take your hands to your mat. We're coming to our downward facing dog, or our half down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then if you do have your hands on your chair or your couch or whatever it is you're using, as you press down and pull back through the hips, it's more likely that your heels will be able to stay grounded. So we find an easier lengthening through the backs of the legs. Tilt the sit bones back, soften the chest down. Again, wrap the outer arms in to draw the armpits toward each other. Let the head draw a little heavier. Take a few breaths here. This variation takes some of the weight out of the wrists and the shoulders, so it can be really nice if the down dog feels just a little too strong in those areas, if we're not finding comfort. We'll go for one more deep breath in. And complete exhale. Then inhale, lift your head, look forward. If you're in your full down dog, look between your hands. We're gonna pick the right leg up and step the right foot forward, coming into a lunge. So bending the right knee until the right knee is just about over the ankle. Press back through the left heel, but forward through the left hip. And with the support in front of us, again, we're not taking so much weight into the legs, so we can really feel out our alignment and maybe have a little bit more longevity in the shape. Left hip forward, right hip back, squeezing the inner thighs toward each other. Left heel back, crown of the head forward, so we keep length through the shape. Let's take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, we're gonna squeeze the inner thighs and lift the hips. Inhale, bend the knees. So again, this can be done fingertips down a little stronger. Exhale, squeeze the thighs, lift the hips. One more time, deep breath in. And long breath out, squeeze the thighs, lift the hips. We're keeping the legs pulling towards straight. They don't need to be fully straight. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Exhale, soften just a little bit downward. Twice more. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Keep squeezing the inner thighs. Again, this can be done fingertips down. Soften toward the right leg. It is just more of a stretch on that right hamstring. One more deep breath in. And complete breath out. Then inhale, come back up. Exhale, bend through the right knee. And we're gonna press into the right foot and step the left foot forward. The chair guides our half lift lengthen. Send the chest forward. Maybe the legs are completely straight. And then from here, we'll bring a little bit of softness into the knees, Press into the feet, bring your hands toward your heart, press into the feet some more and lift up. Lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. Relax the shoulders back and down. On your next inhale, we're going to send the palms up through center. So reaching up through center. Keep pressing the palms in toward each other. It doesn't matter how straight the arms get. Keep pressing. And then as you exhale, press into those palms, draw them back toward your heart. So equal pressure between your left and right hand. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale. You might want to follow your hands with your gaze. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Keep pressing strongly into those palms. And long breath out. Okay, just as you've been pressing into your palms, also squeeze your inner thighs in toward each other. We're going to inhale, send the prayer back up to center. On the exhale, left hand is going to come down to the left hip, and we're going to start to lean over to the left side, refinding that banana shape with the body. This time we're standing, so there's a little bit more balance involved. Keep squeezing the inner thighs, making sure we're not turning this into a forward fold. So pull that right shoulder back, draw the shoulder back a little bit more, and then maybe gaze up if the neck is happy. Otherwise, we can keep the gaze down. Take a deep breath into your right side. And a long breath out. Notice if you sway a little. Absolutely fine. Use your inhale. Let's come back up. And then the exhale brings it to the other side. So right hand comes down to your right side. Palm faces in. And then slide your right hand down your right thigh. Left arm reaches up and over. Grounding evenly with both feet. Squeeze the inner thighs. Draw the shoulder back. Maybe gazing up. If you are gazing up, making sure you're not jutting your chin up, you want to tuck chin into throat, so forehead is always over chin as you turn the head. Take a deep breath into your left side. And a long exhale. Then inhale, lifting back up through center. As you exhale, we're going to bring hands back down to the chair or the mat. You might come all the way into a forward fold. And we're going to walk ourselves back to our Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, or our half downward facing dog as I am. So wherever you are, feet hip distance apart, hands shoulder distance apart. Pull back through the sit bones. Allow the chest to soften, roll the armpits in, the head is heavy. Let's take a long breath in together. And a full breath out together. Then use your next inhale, lift your head, look forward. So if your hands are on the mat, you're looking in between your hands. We pick the left foot up and take a big step forward. Bend through the left knee and find our lunge. So my down dog wasn't very long that time. I have shuffled my right foot back a little bit. Adjusting so you feel you're working evenly on both sides where possible. As you sink into the lunge, knee is about over ankle. And then you want to press down into your front heel, your left heel. So pull your left hip back. Press back through your right heel. So the leg is long, but draw your right hip forward. The leg grows even longer. And we have that squeeze in together of the inner thighs by drawing right hip forward, left hip back. So even though we're finding length and space in the body, we're stable through the center because of that inward pressure. So there's both an inward push and an outward lengthening, all happening simultaneously here. Back of the neck is long, relax the face. Let's take a deep breath in together. And then use the exhale, squeeze the inner thighs some more, draw the legs towards straight. They don't need to get all the way there. Inhale, sink back into your lunge. Keep a soft squeeze of the inner thighs as you do. Exhale, squeeze the inner thighs more strongly, pull the legs towards straight. Lift up through your center line. One more time, inhale. And exhale. So remembering this can be done fingertips on the mat. Keeping the legs towards straight, the hips even on the next breath in. Lift your chest, look forward. Doesn't need to be a big move as you exhale, find some softness toward that left leg. Maybe just the idea of movement. 2 more breaths here, inhale. Exhale. Let's go for 1 more full breath in. And long breath out. Inhale, lift up, look forward. Exhale, bend through the left knee, press into the left foot, and we'll step the right foot back up toward the top of the mat, squeezing the inner thighs, sending the chest forward. Keep a little bit of softness in the knees. You can keep your hands either to your shins or to your chair or blocks, or inhale, hands to heart. Exhale, we're going to start to bend the knees. Pull the weight back into the hips and the heels. Bend the knees. Imagine, especially if you have your chair, that the chair is behind you and you're sitting back into it. Maybe lifting and spreading the toes, holding it here. Keep squeezing the inner thighs for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lift all the way up to standing. It's going to feel so good. Let's press into the palms, reach the hands up through center. And then use the exhale, circle the hands down and around to your sides. Okay, so I am going to keep using the chair. I'm going to come into a supported warrior 2. So we are moving through a few standing postures. If you're not using a chair, this will be a stronger practice than a stretch practice, so feel free to modify. You can drop knees whenever you want. You can come to a seated position and work with the arms, or if you're up for something a little bit more fiery, you might want to stay in your warrior 2 for a little bit and explore those shapes. So bringing your chair, or keeping it where it is, just making sure that you can find a comfortable seat on it. What we're going to do from here, squeeze your inner thighs, sit nice and tall, and just notice your lines. Your shoulders are directly over your hips. We want to keep that. Start to shuffle your right foot and your right knee out to the right. So the legs come toward a 90-degree angle. And already maybe that right hip has started to respond. Notice if your right sit bone has lifted up off the chair, and plug it down. Okay, from here, keeping the shape of that leg, we're going to start to walk the left leg out to the left. Now, I always need to adjust here. I pick myself up to extend my left leg out, and then I actually like to shift what's supporting me more underneath the right leg. So you can do it the other way by shifting yourself, but I like to shift the chair. I don't know why. Whatever works best for you. So the right sit bone is supported by the chair, and the back of the right thigh is supported by the chair. So we're not using our strength here to hold the shape because the chair is supporting our weight. So we can really start to focus on the lines of the body. Right knee over right ankle, so we're in a nice deep warrior. Right toes and right knee point directly toward the front of the mat. So what's happening with my left hip here? If you feel like your left hip is pulling up or your bum is sticking out, this is something that we see a lot of in our warriors. We want to tuck the tailbone under, and then if the hip is pulling up, draw the hip forward toward the top corner of the chair. All right, so there's a roll in of the back thigh. You might even want to grab your thigh to roll in some more. Ground down through the outside edge of the foot. And here we are, beautiful warrior two legs, heel to heel alignment or heel to arch alignment, whatever works best for you. Both are available with the support of the chair. Left hand is going to come onto your left leg, palm facing down. Let's go for a lateral stretch as you inhale, reach the right arm forward and up. As you exhale, paint the ceiling with your fingertips. Inhale, come back up. And again, exhale, paint the ceiling with your fingertips. One more time, full breath in. And long breath out. Okay, taking a little moment for our left side now. Inhale, reach back up and forward. Exhale, right elbow is going to come onto the right knee. You have the option to stay here or with the support of the chair. If it is feeling accessible today, you might want to reach right hand down, fingertips to the mat to the outside of the right foot, and then press your right knee out toward your right shoulder. So 2 options, working with what feels best for your body today, not collapsing or crunching through your right side. Inhale, reach the left arm up. Exhale, circle the left arm forward. And we're going to make big circles. So taking it around. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, forward and down. Let's go for one more. Deep breath in. And long breath out. Inhale, reach the left arm back up. Nice and carefully, if your hand is on the floor, bring your hand back to your knee to help lift yourself up. Warrior two. And then exhale, let's bring the hands back to whatever it is that's supporting your hips. And we're just going to shuffle ourselves back to center. And come to the other side. So sitting straight on first. And then starting to swing the left leg out to the left, making that 90-degree angle. And then start to shuffle the right foot out to the right. So it's really interesting what happens to the hips as you do this. When we're in our warriors, because it's so strengthening of the legs, we don't really, well, maybe it's just me, I don't really pay as much attention to just how open my hips are getting. They're big hip openers, these shapes, especially when you're taking them quite deeply. So we focus on that here without the strength element, instead just really making sure the lines of the stretch are right. We're opening the parts of the body that we want to be opening rather than dumping into spaces that might, over time, cause some niggles. So, again, I'm going to just pick up my chair and move it to the left slightly. So the chair is supporting my sit bone still, the back of my left thigh, and I can find a line from hip to knee to toes, facing toward the back of my mat. And then from here, I'm going to just have a feel with what's happening to my right hip. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I feel like my right hip is lifting. I don't have quite the tendency to stick the bum out, but notice if you are doing this sort of shape, tuck the tailbone down, and then like me, if that right hip is lifting, find the top corner of the chair and roll the right hip down toward it. And immediately there's a nice big stretch for your inner thigh there. So we're finding that opening. So rather than avoiding it, sink forward into it, not down and back. That's what causes the sticky out of the bum. So I hope that makes sense. So really imagining, or even doing it, picking your thigh up and twisting it inward, then grounding down to the outside edge of the back foot. Shoulders are still directly over hips. Let's keep that. And then once you've found your lines, once you feel ready, inhale, reach the arms up, hands to shoulder height, and exhale, let's take right hand to right leg, bring left arm up and over. Inhale, come back towards your warrior two. Exhale, flip it in reverse. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come back up. We're taking it the other way. Exhale, left elbow to left knee. Whoopsie. Just gonna put this here. Left elbow to left knee. We can stay here or reach down toward the outside of the left foot so we can press the knee out into the arm because we don't want that knee to be creeping in. So taking the options that feel best for you. As you inhale, reach the right arm up. We're going for those circles. As you exhale, circle forward and down. Twice more. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Deep breath in. And long breath out. Inhale, reaching back up. Use that as an anchor to lift back up. And then use the exhale, bring your hands back down to your chair. And this will be our last little moment with the chair. So if you haven't been using one and you have been doing your warriors, amazing. I'm sure you must be feeling it by now. We've only got one more little shape to do. I'm going to stay on the chair. Feel free to do the same. Both sit bones are grounded. Knees are as wide as feels right. So we don't need to go all the way out. What we do want is the knees and the toes to be in line. So we're coming to a supported goddess pose. As you inhale, reach the hands up. Hands are directly over shoulders, which are directly over hips. Find the length of the torso. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, circle your hands down to your knees. Okay, we're going to lean forward slightly. So press into the knees, lean forward, inhale. Use the exhale, draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. We'll do one more other side. Inhale, so if you're not on your chair, you can be doing the same thing here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's inhale, come back to center. If you're not on your chair, come up to standing. If you are on your chair, draw the legs back in toward each other first. And then let's stand up and pop that out of the way. All right, we're going to come back down toward the mat now. So coming into, for many of us, what might be our very first full downward facing dog. Let's start at the top. We'll start feet hip distance apart. Arms down beside the body. Turn the palms to face forward as you exhale. On the inhale, send the hands up, all the way up, and then press the palms together. Really press into the palms and then draw into your center as you exhale, hinge at the hips, fall down over your legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen, hands to shins or fingertips to the mat. And then let's use the exhale, fold. Plant the hands down firmly in front of your feet. So bend your knees as much as you need to. In order to do this, planting the hands fully down, pressing up and out of the shoulders, and then stepping back toward your downward facing dog. Keep the knees soft. Lift and spread the sit bones, press down and then forward, like you're trying to push the front of the mat away from you. Maybe we start to feel the same sort of opening across the shoulders and the chest, being mindful that now we do have weight in the shoulders, weight in the wrists. So notice the changes in sensation. When we explore these sorts of modifications, we realize just how many options we have to help a practice suit us. We're going to go for one more full breath in. And then use the exhale. Bring the knees down. Find your tabletop. If you want to pull a blanket or some cushioning underneath the knees, go for it. We'll untuck the toes. Press down through the tops of the feet. Press down through the right hand. Inhale, reach your left arm high as you can. Left shoulder stacks up on top of the right. And as you exhale, thread through. Left hand comes underneath the right, and we're going to lower all the way down onto the left shoulder. We're going to turn this into a twist first, and then we're going to come out of the twist. I'm going to turn myself around to face you. So from here, left cheek is down. Press your right hand into the mat. Start to draw your right shoulder back. So we're using the press of the hand to find the twist. You can stay here, or if you feel like you've got a little bit more twist to move into, reach the right arm up, draw it back, and this takes the twist toward the upper part of the torso. Bind around to the top of the left, the outside of the left hip or the top of the left thigh. So it's up to you where you want to move the head. The more you turn the gaze up toward the ceiling, again, the more we're twisting. A couple of breaths here. And if you've taken that half bind, reach the right arm back up first. And then send the right hand down toward the right shoulder. And here's where things get a little bit interesting. We're staying on the left shoulder, but we're no longer twisting. So we want to pull that right shoulder down toward the mat. Start to walk the right hand forward. Draw the right shoulder down. Maybe forehead comes to the mat. You can stay here, or maybe even right cheek comes to the mat and we look past the left shoulder. Let me turn around again. So either forehead down, both shoulders heavy, or right cheek down, take a few breaths. If you've taken your right cheek down, bring your forehead back to the mat. Draw your right hand back underneath your right shoulder, press into it. Inhale, unthread the left arm, reach high. And then let's exhale, draw hips back to heels. Sit yourself down, circle the left fingertips around behind you. Fingertips find the mat. Right hand reaches up. We can stay here expanding through the chest, or if the lower back is happy, start to press the hips up toward the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, come back down. Nice and slow. Inhale, left arm reaches up. And exhale, we refind our tabletop. Press into your left palm, reach the right arm up. Big breath in. Thread through on the exhale. Come down slowly onto your right shoulder, onto your right cheek, and we'll start with a twist. So press into your left hand, draw that left shoulder back. You can stay here, or if the left hand is an anchor to the twist, could go a bit further, we draw it up. And drawing up pulls that shoulder back. We encourage that even more by taking the half bind to the outside of the right hip or the top of the left thigh. Draw that left shoulder back. Maybe starting to gaze up if that feels accessible, or you might want to keep rolling the right cheek down, but we're losing some of the twist up into the neck. But whatever feels better for you. Maybe one shoulder feels quite different to the other. And we hold a lot through our shoulders, the weight of the world sometimes. And taking your time to breathe through it. And then if you've taken the half bind with the left hand, release and reach the left hand back up toward the ceiling. The exhale circles the left hand back down toward the left shoulder. And from here we start to walk that hand forward. So drawing the left shoulder down now toward the mat. Forehead comes to the mat. Take a few moments here. Maybe even left cheek comes to the mat. And again, I'm going to turn myself around. just so we can see what that looks like. Right hand under, both shoulders melt down. Maybe the left cheek is down. Really rolling your left armpit as far down as you can. If you did my class yesterday, we did a lot of shoulder strengthening, so this should feel quite nice. Just take one more deep breath in. And complete exhale. If your left cheek is on the mat, bring your forehead back down first. Left hand underneath left shoulder, press into it, unthread the right arm, reach up, inhale. Exhale, right hand comes down. Now if you're on carpet, sweet, you can stay facing the direction that you are. If you're on something harder, you might want to turn to go to the long end of your mat. We're going to come into our froggy pose. So a big inner thigh stretch, and then a big outer hip stretch to finish off today. So starting to separate the knees. So the knees and the hips stay in line. The knees and the ankles stay in line. The toes point out to either side. So notice my knees and my ankles are making one line here. I'm going to switch myself around. My knees and my hips are also making one line. So staying heavy through the hips. And then maybe coming down onto the elbows. If you're on your elbows, make sure you're pressing out of the shoulders, not sinking in. The head can go heavy. If you're quite comfortable here, you might want to walk your arms forward and bring your forehead down. But that is quite strong. So just breathing and taking the shape to a space where it feels right for you today. Remembering with all these options, sometimes it can be tempting to let our ego take our practice over and we push ourselves just to see. And that's when we start to tense and fight and injury is more probable. So when we approach each shape from a point of softness, a seeking of information from our practice of learning, we don't necessarily need to go to 110% in order to feel something deeply. There's just as much learning to do at 50%, at 60%, at 20%. Notice if you've started to tense, can you find some softness? Can you breathe into the areas of the body that you're feeling the most? If you're pressing out of the shoulders, you might want to drop the head a little heavier, giving the back of the neck a bit more length. And then if your head is melting down toward the mat, lift it to look forward. Now coming out of this shape can be a little bit tricky. Don't draw the hips back. If anything, draw the hips forward slightly. This softens the stretch. And then squeeze your inner thighs. Come back onto the knees. We're going to draw the knees together and sit hips back to heels, coming up to a seated position. From here, rock out onto your left hip. And swing your right leg around, crossing your right foot to the outside of the left knee. Now, if you're pregnant or you're wanting a more gentle practice, stay with an open twist. Otherwise, right hand comes behind you, left hand either holds or hooks the right knee, and we start to draw the right shoulder back. Just a little moment, twisting out the spine, maybe looking back. Inhaling to crown the head toward the ceiling. Exhale, take the twist a little deeper. And then use an inhale to unravel. So as you unravel the spine, there's space in the torso to pull the breath into. And then we're going to exhale, hands down by our sides, drop the right knee out to the right, draw the left knee out to the left. So we're starting to bring our shins toward parallel. I was about to say our forelegs instead of our forearms, and that doesn't make any sense. So either making sort of a boxy square shape, right leg in front, left leg behind. Feet are roughly in line with knees, feet are flexed. It's double pigeon that we're moving into, okay? So this might be more than enough. Sitting tall, closing down the eyes, breathing. Otherwise, if there feels like there's space today, the right foot comes onto the left knee. This makes the right knee over the left foot. Doesn't matter if there's space. Don't press down onto it. You might want to support it, maybe bring a blanket or a pillow in. Otherwise, if it's hovering, that's all good. Both sit bones are grounded, feet stay flexed, hands down by your sides, and can up through the crown of the head, close the eyes. If you're really comfortable here, feel free to take a fold forward. For me, this feels quite strong in the hips. And I've got a few big breaths. And then coming to swap sides. So if your right foot is on top, let's just pull it back forward. And then we're going to uncross the left leg from underneath, pull the right foot in, take the left foot to the outside of the right knee. So it's the left leg that's on top now. Both sit bones are grounded. Nice open twist, or we close it off, hugging or hooking, elbow to left knee, draw the left shoulder back. Keep the spine long. Notice if you're twisting more in one part than in another. And have a play with seeing how we can even out that twist. Let's inhale, crown of the head high. Exhale, left shoulder back, gaze back. And we use the inhale to unravel, come to face forward. And we're going to take that double pigeon on the other side. So start to drop the left knee to the left, the right knee to the right. Left foot is in front this time. Shins come toward parallel, making more of a box shape with the legs between the knees and the hips. And then staying here, flexing the feet and knees are in one line, sitting tall. Or maybe it's the left foot that comes on top of the right knee. Keep the foot flexed. Left knee is therefore on top of right foot, again flexed. And maybe there's some space here, that's okay, not using the hands to press. Instead, using the breath to relax the body, and maybe as we find some softness, the knee can relax a little heavier. It's not about what it looks like, but how are you feeling? How are you responding to this shape? If you have a tendency to fight and to push, can you pull back? If you have a tendency to ear away from anything too strong, any sensation too strong, maybe have an exploration of taking it a little bit further. So let the practice help you grow and expand, face challenges. Let the practice hold you and be your support. If you took it forward on the other side, you might want to take it forward here as well. If you are doing that, keep the spine long, both sit bones grounded. And then blinking open the eyes. If that left foot is on top, uncrossing it, sending it forward, and then we're just going to take the legs out a bit wider than hip distance apart. Pick the hips up, shuffle them down toward the heels. Take a little windscreen wiper of the legs, one way then the other. And then coming back up to center. Feet to hip distance, hands reach forward, big breath in. See, curl the spine as you exhale. Slow down the movement, vertebra by vertebra. We rest ourselves down onto our backs, back into our Shavasana. So when you feel ready, let the legs go long, feet to hip distance apart or a little wider. Toes roll out to either side, arms are down by the body. Shoulders roll back, palms face up. Back of the head is heavy and face is soft. Eyes are closed. Perhaps observing any differences from our first Shavasana to now. How does stillness feel after all that movement? Maybe we can be more easeful here. Maybe the need to fidget or move has decreased, or maybe not. Well, let's see if we can just find some stillness and let ourselves be within all this space that we have created. How heightened are your senses, maybe feeling a tingle of the skin. Really acknowledging each breath that enters and leaves your body. Feeling free to stay here for as long as serves you today. If you're ready, you might want to start to bring some movement back to your body. Gently at first, letting the movement softly massage as you reawaken. In your own time and in your own way, slowly lifting to a seated position. There's no rush. Hands come together. Let's find a moment of gratitude. thinking of something that you are particularly grateful for today. It can be absolutely anything. When you think about that thing, how do you feel in your body? That feeling of gratitude, can we find it even if we're not thinking about a particular thing? Let that feeling of gratitude start to grow, shining from your center outward, filling up your entire being. And then beyond that, filling up your entire room. And then beyond that, your house, your suburb, and our gratitude meets. We don't need to practice together in order to have a more resounding effect, a wider effect. We don't need to be together in a physical room, but let's keep practicing. Keep growing, keep exploring. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.